For more on this story, let's bring in Rob Shaw at the BC Legislature for us tonight. Rob, this closure hits the BC government particularly hard. What's the reaction been today?
Well, Stacey, it might seem like a small facility, but it's on an area in the North Island where the Premier describes the future of forestry in BC is located. It's supposed to be sustainable long-term partnership area where forestry will continue, not subject to the layoffs and mill closures we've seen decimate other parts of the sector recently. And yet, EB mentioned specifically in his speech at the Natural Resources Conference on Tuesday, this part of the island, it's where the first of its kind joint decision-making agreement between the Namgis First Nation, the province, Western Forest Products, and local communities together as part of a forest landscape planning table. You see the area here, 160,000 hectares around the Nipkish Valley, including Wasp, Port McNeill, and Alert Bay. The idea being if you can bring everyone together and figure out where and when and how to log, you can get more predictable fiber supply, lower costs, and more certainty. It sounds simple, but the Premier set up 15 of these forest landscape planning tables 3 years ago. This is the only one at the draft agreement stage. 11 basically are still in the planning stage, yet there are still closures and layoffs here too, involving this First Nations majority-owned chip mill. Here is EB's speech earlier this week.
Just last week, we marked an important milestone in the Nipkish Valley Forest Landscape Plan. This is an agreement that brought governments, First Nations, and industry together to plan in relation to about 166,000 hectares, Vancouver Island near Alert Bay and Port McNeill. It includes Vancouver Island's longest river. The outcome for the plan is a shared plan for how the land's going to be used, protected, and managed, an increase in actual harvest levels, predictability for industry and forestry families, and protection of important community values, including water. These results take time and energy and commitment, but they are real and they are the future of a sustainable industry.
Not even the area of the province is supposed to be the future of the sustainable industry is exempt from this collapse in the forestry sector. You heard Aaron Gunn say it. It is a complex series of sawmills not getting enough access to economical wood, and then you have the pulp mills not getting enough access to the fiber supply, and then you have the suppliers, Stacey, like this that are closing down. It has been a brutal year for forestry. The government has presented no real plan to get the sector out of this crisis. Stacey?
Yeah, tough times for the hundreds involved in that industry on Vancouver Island. Thanks so much, Rob. A major reclamation project in the heart of the Comox Valley is taking another major step forward as it nears completion. The former field sawmill site is being returned to nature, and over the next few weeks, the final sections of a 400-meter steel retaining wall are being removed. Dean Stoltz reports.
A large barge with a tall crane has been in the Courtenay River for over a week now, and it's getting a lot of attention.
Oh, I think it's pretty phenomenal, actually. It's a good-sized barge to have in here pulling this apart, so yeah, it's quite impressive watching it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to watch. And for this to go away, I thought that was going to be there for years.
The crane is removing pieces of the 400-meter-long retaining wall that separated the river and the old mill property for decades.
The large crane has a vibrating clamp on it, so it basically vibrates out each sheet pile, and those sheet piles were originally 60 feet long, so the ones that went in all the way are 60 feet long.
The site was once a busy sawmill dating back to 1949. It closed in 2004, and after the mill structure was torn down, the property sat vacant for years. Eventually, Project Watershed partnered with the Comox First Nation and the city of Courtenay and purchased the property in 2017. Ecological restoration work to return the site back to nature began in 2021.
The goal was to restore it to its original ecological and cultural values.
What's been involved?
Yeah, so a lot of the work has actually just been to remove a lot of the mill infrastructure. So that includes an old office building at the beginning, all the concrete and asphalt, and then excavating down so that we can get to a natural grade that would have existed before.
12,000 cubic meters of concrete were removed. Now the wall is coming out, and that should take about 6 weeks before some more planting, adding to the over 30,000 trees and bushes already planted on the site.
We have some ecological parameters that we'll be evaluating as well, so things like fish, pinnipeds. We'll be looking at how the vegetation recovery goes and looking at things like birds as well.
This mom and her young son come by regularly to check out the progress.
I think it's great that they're returning it to how it was. When I was little, it was a sawmill, and we used to call it the Stinky Factory.
Yeah, so we've been watching it, and it's pretty awesome that it's almost done.
Volunteers have had a major role in the success of the project, which cost about $5 million, covered mainly by donations and government grants.